You started your journey with Tata Group in year 1987 and you stayed with them for 37 years. What kept you with the group for so long?
Yes, I joined the group in 1987 and I superannuated from the group in 2023. I continue to remain a director and advisor in the group just now. It's a very interesting question. It's not just me. I think there are tens of thousands of people like me who spend their entire working careers with the Tata Group. And in the book, Jamshedji Tata, Powerful Learnings for Corporate Success, I've actually narrated my story as well in one of the sections on the book which covers people. But in essence, it is this. What has been, if I were to in a minute encapsulate my career with the group, I spent the first several years selling and marketing tea and coffee in the company that was called Tata Tea at that time. We were a very small plantation company getting into branded tea and coffee, and with a 0% share of the market, and Unilever was the big boss, sitting on a huge 50% plus share of the market.
The Red Label and
Red Label and Taj Mahal, and we started with Tata Tea and Kanan Devan and Chakra Gold Tea and Gemini Tea. And it was a story of how over the years we did very innovative marketing to capture market share more and more until we got very, very close to Unilever. And that was a fascinating voyage.
In our home, I learned for the last 10 years, we use Tata Tea Gold.
That's wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. Tata Tea Gold is a fabulous blend. It has 15% long leaf in addition to Assam, CTC tea, and it's a very good combination of strength and flavor. So I enjoy Tata Tea Gold as well very much.
I would love to jump back into your story. Just wanted to acknowledge that.
No, but I can talk about Tata Tea for ages. But so that taught me the essentials of marketing, made me a very good marketer. The group empowered me to take a lot of decisions on the brands that I was managing at that time, the sales and distribution network that I was involved with. And it was very empowering to work in those circumstances and to see the success of your efforts as each of our brands started growing dramatically. Thereafter, after that, I worked with the Tetley acquisition for a couple of years, India's first ever acquisition of a global brand. Fascinating assignment, and I'm deeply privileged that the group and the company selected me as a member of that acquisition due diligence team. Then I had a long stint with Titan. I worked as the sales and marketing head of Tanishq, the jewelry business. For a brief while, I was the chief operating officer of that business. Then for an extended period, I was the chief operating officer of the watches business of Titan. And that was again about building brands. It was about building Tanishq as a jewelry brand. It was about building Titan and Fast Track and Sonata as brands of watches. Titan, of course, was a very strong brand at that time, but it was fascinating to see how Fast Track was built out during that period of time. I also had a brief stint with the telecom business of the group, which was a big challenge. And then I came back to, well before the Tata Docomo days. It used to be called Tata Indicom at that time. And then I came back to Titan. And after my Titan stint, I took a sabbatical to write my first book in 2012 called Tata Log. And the group and the company were kind enough to give me that sabbatical to write a book. And after that, when I came back to the group as the managing director of Tata Global Beverages. And then for the last stint before my superannuation, I was the brand custodian at Tata Sons, looking after the Tata brand. So you'll see the first thing this has been my 37-year voyage. And in the most recent past, I've been a director on the boards of some Tata Group companies. And I also serve as an advisor to the group. And in addition, I pursued my passion for writing. The latest result of that is this book on Jamshedji Tata, which I have co-authored with Mr. Gopal Krishnan, and which I hope that all our viewers here will decide to pick up and read. But if you look at this long 37-year stint, which I have encapsulated now, the first thing is that there have been very, very interesting assignments. They have played to my passion for marketing and branding. And I've learned across all these stints. I've worked across a range of industries: tea, coffee, watches, jewelry, telecom, and finally the main Tata brand. So working across virtually the whole group. So it's been very interesting enriching from an intellectual perspective and from a perspective of professional growth and development. That's one reason that I have stayed with the Tata Group, but that is not by any stretch the only reason. The second reason I've stayed with the Tata Group is because the group has, it has never once in my 37 years of working with it asked me to do anything which was against my conscience. And as a result of that, I can sleep well at night. And a good night's sleep, you will agree with me, is worth its weight in gold.
Yeah.
So that's the second reason. The third reason I've stayed with the group is that I know that this is a group which has existed for more than 150 years and which constantly tries to do something good for the country. We are owned by the Tata Charitable Trusts. We are not, and that gives you a great reassurance because you know that the profits that your companies produce, a good part of those profits through the dividends of Tata Sons flow to the Tata Charitable Trusts, which use those funds for establishing hospitals or for the fight against COVID-19 or disaster relief or the National Water Mission, number of purposes like that. As a result, when I work in the Tata Group, I know whether I am selling or marketing jewelry or watches or tea or coffee, I know that the end destination of at least some of the profits which are produced go back to the society and the community. And that gives you a greater sense of purpose compared to just working for the sake of your livelihood. And I think that sense of purpose has also been a very important element. And finally, of course, the Tata Group takes very good care of people who work with it. The Tata Group has certainly taken very good care of me over the years. And when you feel cared for, then why will you leave a place? When you feel if you feel cared for, if you're doing interesting work, if you do only what your conscience says is right, and if you also have a larger purpose that you're working towards, I think that's a set of attributes or a set of factors which make for a wonderful combination. And therefore, I've never felt like leaving the Tata Group. I normally call it my second family. You don't leave your family, and then you don't leave a professional group which you think is your family. That is my story, and I've narrated it in more detail in this book. But it's not just my story. It's also the story of tens of thousands of people like me in the group. The individual details may vary, which company people have worked in, which departments they've worked in, what they've done. But the broad trajectory you'll find is similar to the trajectory that I've narrated. So it's been a real privilege to work with Tata. And I thank my stars that I chose to join this company when I finished college.